I was sitting in a meeting when my manager opened an email on the shared projector. The moment her face changed, I knew something was wrong. She clicked away quickly, but not before I saw my name at the top. My heart started pounding. The email wasn't meant for everyone to see. But there it was, projected on the wall, for 3 frozen seconds. Words like manipulative and undeserving burned into my vision. And at the bottom, the sender's name made my stomach drop. Talia Richardson. My best friend. The woman who hugged me 2 weeks ago when I got promoted. The same person who texted me happy birthday last month with 3 heart emojis. I sat perfectly still, fingers gripping my pen so hard my knuckles went white. My manager cleared her throat and switched screens, pretending nothing happened. But I'd seen it. Every cruel word. Every calculated lie. And worst of all, I wasn't even supposed to know. The meeting continued, but I couldn't hear anything. My ears were ringing. Blood rushed through my head so loud I thought everyone could hear it. Across the table, Talia sipped her coffee like it was just another Tuesday morning. Her face was calm, relaxed, almost bored. She had no idea that email just flashed across the screen. No idea I'd seen what she really thought of me. I watched her laugh at something our manager said, watched her lean back in her chair with that easy confidence she always had. My hands were shaking under the table. I wanted to stand up and scream. I wanted to throw my laptop at her. Instead, I smiled. I nodded when someone asked me a question. I acted like everything was fine, because the moment I showed her I knew, I'd lose my advantage. So I sat there, burning inside, and I made a choice. I wouldn't confront her. Not yet. I would wait. I would watch. And I would remember every single thing. My name is Brooke Anderson, and I'm 29 years old. I work at a mid-sized marketing firm in Chicago called Velocity Media. It's the kind of place where everyone smiles in meetings but talks about you the second you leave the room. I'd been there for 4 years, working my way up from junior coordinator to senior campaign manager. No connections. No shortcuts. Just late nights and coffee-stained reports and campaigns that actually worked. The promotion came 2 weeks ago. My boss called me into her office and told me I'd earned it. I cried in the bathroom after, not because I was surprised, but because for once, hard work actually mattered. Talia was the first person I told. We'd started at Velocity together, sharing a tiny cubicle and dreams of making it big. She screamed when I called her. She said she was so proud. She said we'd celebrate properly that weekend. I believed every word. The celebration happened 3 days after my promotion. Talia insisted on taking me to this expensive rooftop bar downtown. She ordered champagne, made a toast, and told everyone at the table that I deserved everything good that came my way. Her words were perfect. Her smile was bright. But when I looked closer, I noticed her hand shaking slightly as she raised her glass. I noticed how she drained her drink faster than usual. How her compliments felt rehearsed, like she'd practiced them in the mirror. At the time, I thought she was just emotional. Happy for me. Nervous about her own career, maybe. I didn't realize what that shake really meant. I didn't see the resentment hiding behind her teeth. That night, she hugged me goodbye outside the bar and whispered, "You're going to do amazing things, Brooke." I hugged her back, believing her completely. I had no idea she'd already started planning how to tear me down. The shift started small. Little comments during team meetings that seemed helpful, but left me second-guessing myself. "Are you sure that's the best approach?" She'd ask, tilting her head like she was genuinely concerned. "I just think maybe we should consider other options." Then she'd smile, and everyone would nod like she'd said something wise. She started forgetting to include me in email chains. Important ones. Strategy discussions I should have been leading. When I asked about it, she'd act surprised. "Oh my God, I'm so sorry. I thought you were CC'd." It happened 3 times in 2 weeks. Other things changed too. She stopped responding to my texts as quickly. Our lunch breaks became less frequent. When we did meet, She'd spend the whole time talking about her own projects, barely asking about mine. I told myself I was being paranoid, that she was just busy, that friendship naturally shifts when work dynamics change. But deep down, I felt it. The distance, the coldness, the way her eyes didn't smile anymore when she looked at me. 3 weeks into my new role, I launched a campaign that went viral. 6 million impressions in 4 days. The client was thrilled. My boss scheduled a presentation so I could walk the leadership team through what we did. I spent 2 nights preparing slides, organizing data, making sure every detail was perfect. The morning of the presentation, I was nervous but ready. I stood at the front of the conference room and started walking through our strategy. Halfway through, Talia raised her hand. "Can I just add something?" she said sweetly. Then she launched into an explanation of the creative concept, the targeting strategy, the execution timeline. Everything I was about to cover. She spoke with such confidence that our VP started taking notes. She used words like "we" and "our team," but somehow made it sound like she'd led the whole thing. When she finished, everyone clapped. My boss smiled and said, "Great teamwork, you two." I stood there, slides half finished, feeling like I'd just been erased. Talia caught my eye and winked, like we were in on some joke together. I locked myself in the bathroom after that meeting. Second stall from the end, the one with the broken lock that nobody used. I sat on the closed toilet seat and cried as quietly as I could. My chest felt tight, like someone was pressing down on my ribs. I wasn't usually emotional. I didn't cry at work. But this was different. This was betrayal from someone I trusted. Someone I considered family. I pulled out my phone and scrolled through our old text messages. Inside jokes from last year. Photos from her birthday party. Late-night vent sessions about difficult clients. "You're the only one who gets it," she'd written once. "I don't know what I'd do without you." I stared at those words until they blurred. What changed? When did I become the enemy? I wiped my face, fixed my makeup, and walked back to my desk. Nobody asked if I was okay. Nobody noticed I'd been gone. Except Talia. She looked up when I passed her desk, and for just a second, I saw something in her expression. Not guilt. Satisfaction. I decided to test her. During our next lunch together, I casually mentioned a new campaign idea I was considering. Nothing major, just a creative concept about using user-generated content for our biggest client. I made it sound exciting, revolutionary even. Talia's eyes lit up. She asked questions, took mental notes, told me it was brilliant. 2 days later, I saw an email thread I hadn't been included in. The subject line read, "New campaign concept." I opened it. There was my idea, word for word, presented by Talia as her own. She'd even used the same examples I'd mentioned. My hands went cold as I read through the responses. People loved it. They were praising her innovation, her creativity. I closed my laptop slowly. Then I opened a blank document and typed everything I remembered from our lunch conversation. The date, the time, the restaurant, every detail. I saved it in a folder labeled Work Notes. I didn't confront her. I didn't correct anyone. I just watched and waited. A week later, I tried something different. I created a fake proposal for a client pitch. It looked professional, detailed, compelling. But buried in the financial projections was a calculation error. Obvious if you actually check the math, but easy to miss if you just skimmed. I shared the document with Talia during a coffee break, telling her I wanted her opinion before I submitted it. She said she'd look it over that night. 3 days later, we had a leadership meeting. Talia volunteered to present an idea for the upcoming client pitch. She pulled up a document on the screen. My document. Every word identical. Every slide copied, including the error. She started walking through the proposal, confident and polished. When she got to the financial section, I raised my hand. "Sorry, Talia, but I think there might be a mistake in those numbers." Everyone leaned forward. I pulled out my laptop and showed the correct calculations. The room went quiet. Our manager looked confused. "Talia, Did you create this proposal? Talia's face turned red. I collaborated on it, she stammered. I smiled gently. I don't remember collaborating. But mistakes happen. She sat down without finishing her presentation. After that meeting, something shifted. One of the senior managers, a woman named Victoria, pulled me aside in the hallway. She was probably 50, sharp-eyed, with silver hair cut in a precise bob. Brooke, she said quietly, I don't know what's going on between you and Talia, but I want you to know something. She looked around to make sure we were alone. I see what you're doing. The work you're putting in. The results you're getting. Don't let anyone take that from you. Her words hit me harder than I expected. For weeks, I'd felt invisible, gasping for air in a room full of people who didn't notice I was drowning. But Victoria saw me. She saw through the noise and the politics and the manipulation. Thank you, I whispered. She squeezed my shoulder. You're doing great. Keep your head up. I walked back to my desk feeling lighter than I had in weeks. It was a small moment, but it mattered. Because for the first time since my promotion, I realized I wasn't fighting alone. The breakthrough came by accident. Talia forgot to log out of a shared work laptop in one of the conference rooms. I only discovered it because I went to prep for a client call and saw her Slack still open on the screen. I should have closed it. I should have walked away. But I didn't. I scrolled up through her recent messages. My name appeared immediately. A conversation with someone named Marcus from the design team. Brooke's been so needy lately, Talia had written. Always asking for validation. It's exhausting. Marcus replied, she does seem insecure for someone who just got promoted. I kept scrolling. More messages. More names. A whole group chat dedicated to complaining about me. They called me controlling. They said I took credit for other people's work. They even joked about how I probably cried when I got feedback. My vision went blurry. I wanted to scream. Instead, I pulled out my phone and took pictures of everything. Every conversation. Every name. Every cruel word. Then I logged her out, closed the laptop, and walked calmly back to my desk. That night, I created a new folder on my personal laptop. I labeled it Receipts. Inside, I organized everything chronologically. Screenshots of Slack messages. Emails where she'd taken credit for my work. Meeting notes documenting her interruptions. Calendar entries proving when I'd shared ideas with her privately. I added dates, times, context. I cross-referenced everything to make sure it was accurate. I wasn't building a case for revenge. I was building a case for truth. Because I knew that if I ever needed to defend myself, feelings wouldn't matter. Only facts would. Talia thought she was being clever. Thought she was moving in shadows where no one could see her. But she'd left a trail. A clear, documented, undeniable trail. And I was following every step. I saved the folder, backed it up to the cloud, and went to bed. For the first time in weeks, I slept soundly. Because I wasn't helpless anymore. I was prepared. My birthday came on a Thursday. I woke up to a text from Talia with 3 balloon emojis and a paragraph about how lucky she was to have me in her life. That afternoon, she posted a photo of us on Instagram, arms around each other, both smiling. The caption read, "Love you always, proud of everything you've achieved, Red Heart." I stared at that post for a long time. 53 people liked it. 12 left comments about friendship goals. But that same morning, I'd received a forwarded email by mistake. Someone in HR had accidentally included me in a thread about performance concerns. The original message was from Talia, sent a week earlier. I'm worried about Brooke's leadership style, she'd written. Several team members have expressed concerns about her approach. She can be dismissive and doesn't seem open to feedback. I thought someone should know. I read it 3 times. Then I looked at her Instagram post again. The contrast was staggering. The lie was so complete, so seamless, that I almost admired it. Almost. I didn't respond to her text. I didn't comment on her post. I just added the email to my folder and kept moving forward. I started feeding her information. Small things at first. During casual conversations, I'd mention projects that didn't exist yet. Campaigns we were supposedly pitching. Client concerns that weren't real. I made everything sound confidential, important, insider knowledge she'd want to share. And she did. Every single time. Within days, I'd hear my fake information repeated back to me by other people. Always slightly twisted, always positioned to make Talia look connected and informed. I documented every instance. What I told her, when I told her, who she told, how the story changed. It was like watching someone follow a map I'd drawn specifically for them. She thought she was networking, building relationships, positioning herself as someone in the know. She had no idea she was just proving a pattern. A pattern of taking information that wasn't hers and using it for personal gain. A pattern I could trace back to the source every single time. The folder on my laptop kept growing. In October, I was invited to apply for a cross-departmental leadership role, Director of Strategic Campaigns. It was a massive opportunity, the kind that could define the next decade of my career. I worked on my application for 2 weeks. I asked Victoria for a recommendation. I prepared case studies of my most successful projects. I felt good about my chances. Then the interviews started happening, and I noticed something strange. People were avoiding eye contact. Conversations ended when I walked into rooms. During my final interview, one of the panel members asked, "How do you handle feedback from peers who might see you as difficult to work with?" I froze. Difficult? No one had ever called me that before. "I'm always open to feedback," I said carefully. "Can you give me an example of a situation you're referring to?" She glanced at her notes. Just something that came up during reference checks. Nothing specific. But it was specific. Someone had told them I was difficult, manipulative, not ready for leadership. And I knew exactly who. A week later, someone from HR scheduled a meeting with me. Not formal, just a check-in. Her name was Angela, and she had kind eyes and a calm voice that made you want to trust her. "How are you feeling, Brooke?" she asked. "About work, about the team, about everything?" I could have told her the truth right then. Could have shown her my folder, explained everything. But something stopped me. Maybe it was pride. Maybe it was strategy. "I'm doing well," I said. "Why do you ask?" Angela hesitated. "We just want to make sure everyone feels supported. If there's ever anything you need to talk about, my door is open." I nodded and smiled. After the meeting, I sent her a carefully worded email. Nothing accusatory, just a brief, factual summary of some challenges I'd noticed in team dynamics. I mentioned feeling excluded from certain conversations. I noted a few instances where credit seemed misattributed. I kept it professional, almost casual. But I knew it would be documented. Added to my file. Angela responded within an hour. "Thank you for sharing. Let us know if anything escalates." Talia must have sensed something shifting because she got bolder. In meetings, she started openly correcting me. Not harshly, but with this patronizing patience that made my skin crawl. "Actually, Brooke, I think what you meant to say was..." She'd interrupt my presentations to add clarity. She'd speak over me during brainstorming sessions. Once, during a client call, she literally muted my line and finished my sentence for me. I stopped reacting. Stopped defending myself. People started noticing. I could see it in their faces. The discomfort when she cut me off. The awkward silences after she spoke. But nobody said anything. Nobody stood up for me. So, I just kept taking notes. Kept building my case. Around that time, I started hearing whispers about an emotional breakdown I supposedly had. Someone told our manager I'd been crying in the bathroom. Someone else said I was struggling with the pressure of my new role. None of it was true, but the rumors spread anyway. In November, our regional VP made a surprise visit. His name was Christopher Dalton, and he was known for dropping in unannounced to see how offices really ran. I was asked to host his tour and present our department's recent wins. I spent 3 days preparing. Talia volunteered to help, which should have been my first warning sign. The day of the visit, everything went smoothly. Christopher seemed impressed by our campaign results, asked thoughtful questions, took notes. Talia hovered nearby, trying to insert herself into conversations. But Christopher kept directing his questions to me. At one point, he asked about team dynamics. How do you handle collaboration across departments? Before I could answer, Talia jumped in. It's challenging sometimes. Different working styles, you know. Christopher looked at her, then back at me. Brooke. I spoke honestly about building trust, maintaining communication, respecting expertise. He nodded slowly. That evening, I received an email from an address I didn't recognize. The subject line read, "Thought you should know." Inside was a screenshot of a message Talia had sent to Christopher's assistant before his visit. Just want to make sure someone asks about team morale, it said. There have been some concerns about leadership transitions. I saved the email to my folder. I decided to try one final test. I created a comprehensive strategy document for our biggest client's Q1 campaign. It looked perfect on the surface. Professional, detailed, impressive. But buried in one of the data tables was a fatal flaw. The projected ROI was calculated using the wrong formula. Anyone who actually analyzed the numbers would catch it immediately. But if you just skimmed the document, trusted the formatting, assumed the math was correct, you'd miss it completely. I shared it with Talia during lunch. I'm submitting this to Christopher tomorrow, I said. Want to take a look tonight and let me know what you think? She promised she would. I never heard back from her. But a week later, during a leadership meeting I wasn't invited to, Talia presented a campaign strategy to Christopher. My document, word for word, including the error. Christopher asked her to walk through the financial projections. She stumbled, started backtracking, couldn't explain the calculations because she hadn't done them. The meeting ended early. I heard about it from Victoria, who looked at me with new understanding. That was yours, wasn't it? I didn't confirm or deny. I just smiled. The email chain surfaced 2 days later. I don't know who leaked it. Maybe someone from that leadership meeting. Maybe someone from HR. Maybe someone who'd just had enough. But suddenly it was everywhere. Forwarded between managers, shared in private Slacks, whispered about in hallways. The full thread of Talia's messages about me. Every lie, every insult, every calculated attempt to destroy my reputation. My manager called me into her office. Her face was pale. Brooke, I need to show you something. She turned her screen toward me. There it was. Months of messages. Talia calling me manipulative, saying I'd slept my way to my promotion, claiming I stole credit from junior team members. Messages to other people, building a narrative, creating a story where I was the villain. Did you know about this? My manager asked. I met her eyes. Some of it, I said quietly. I've been documenting concerns for a while now. Her expression changed. You have documentation? I nodded. The HR meeting happened the next morning. Angela sat across from me, another HR representative beside her. We need to address some serious allegations, Angela said. I pulled out my folder. Not the digital one. A physical binder I'd printed and organized the night before. Every screenshot, every email, every documented instance of Talia taking credit, spreading rumors, undermining my work. All of it time-stamped, cross-referenced, contextualized. I slid it across the table. I think you'll find this helpful. They spent 20 minutes going through it. Neither of them spoke. When they finished, Angela looked at me with something like respect. Why didn't you come forward sooner? Because I needed to be certain, I said. And I needed proof that couldn't be dismissed. They asked me to wait outside. An hour later, they called Talia in. I didn't see her face, but I heard raised voices. Her words were muffled, defensive. Then silence. That afternoon, an email went out to the department. Effective immediately, Talia Richardson will be transitioning to a new opportunity outside Velocity Media. We wish her the best in her future endeavors. Talia didn't show up to work the next day, or the day after that. Her desk sat empty, personal items still scattered across the surface. A coffee mug, a framed photo, a plant that was already wilting. Nobody touched anything. It felt like a crime scene. People walked past quickly, heads down, not wanting to be associated with what happened. I kept working, kept showing up, kept delivering results. A few colleagues approached me privately. I had no idea it was that bad, someone said. Another person admitted, I should have said something when I saw her taking credit. I accepted their words without bitterness, because I understood. Office politics made cowards of good people. Fear of retaliation kept mouths shut. Nobody wanted to be the next target. 2 weeks after Talia left, her desk was cleared out. The plant was gone. The photos were gone. It was like she'd never existed at all. I walked past that empty space every morning. And every morning I kept moving forward. The whispers started shifting. Instead of rumors about my breakdown, people talked about my resilience. Instead of questioning my promotion, they praised my leadership. In meetings, when I spoke, people actually listened. I noticed colleagues seeking my advice, asking for my input on their projects. Victoria stopped by my desk one afternoon. The role you applied for, she said. The Director of Strategic Campaigns position. It's being reopened. My heart skipped. They want to reconsider my application? She smiled. They want to offer it to you directly. No reapplication necessary. I sat very still, letting that sink in. The role Talia's sabotage had cost me. The opportunity, one thought I'd lost forever. It was mine, not because I fought for it, not because I demanded it, but because my work spoke louder than anyone's lies. When do they want an answer? I asked. Take your time, Victoria said. But between you and me, you've already earned it. That afternoon, I accepted the position. My first day as Director of Strategic Campaigns felt surreal. New office, new title, new responsibilities, but the same me. I set up my desk slowly, placing my laptop, my notebooks, my coffee mug with a chipped handle that I refused to replace. From my window, I could see the entire marketing floor. All the people I'd worked alongside for 4 years. Some who'd supported me, some who'd stayed silent, some who'd believed Talia's lies. I didn't feel angry at them anymore. I understood that people believe what's easiest, what fits their narrative, what requires the least courage to accept. My job wasn't to change their minds. My job was to do the work, and I was good at my work. That evening, Christopher sent me a message. Looking forward to seeing what you build, Brooke. You've shown real character through a difficult situation. I read those words 3 times. Character, not strategy, not revenge. Character. Maybe that was the real lesson. That integrity wasn't about being perfect. It was about staying true even when no one was watching. Even when taking the low road would have been easier. 6 months later, I walked past Talia's old desk on my way to a client meeting. The space had been reassigned to a new junior coordinator, someone eager and nervous, and full of potential. I didn't stop to look, didn't feel the need to mark the moment or claim some symbolic victory. I just kept walking, briefcase in hand, mind already on the presentation ahead. Sunlight came through the tall windows, warming my face as I passed through the glass doors. Outside, the city hummed with traffic and voices and possibility. I thought about that meeting where everything started. The projector screen, the accidental email. The moment I could have confronted her, could have screamed or cried or fallen apart. I thought about choosing silence instead. Choosing patience. Choosing to build something stronger than anger. People ask me sometimes if I regret how it all played out. If I wish I'd handled things differently. I tell them the truth. That the best revenge isn't destroying someone. It's letting them destroy themselves while you keep building. And when the dust finally settles, making sure you're still standing. Strong. Clear. Unshaken. Ready for whatever comes next.